Well, here we are, everybody, returning to Chenyu, and here we are. We're doing 7 personalities. Now, out of all the songs that I've been recommended, this one, A, has the most recommendations. B, I think by title alone, really piques my interest. So, pretty interested to see how this all goes on. So, yeah, let's check it out. We'll see what we got going on here, and let's have a good time. Let's see what he's got in store for us.
夜幕低垂，虫鸣叫，看天空飞过知更鸟，窗边的麻雀为谁在哀悼？下了。
哈。
落光影动，没记载，不留痕迹。若点激动，变空白，如何描摹过去？
哦。
麻木洞被揭开，鲜血淋漓。若人能够篡改天生沉沦在人命
Interesting, okay. Wow.
若真相懂被掩埋，不言不语。若人能够接受注定沉沦那些宿命。 这一切多么美，星星都追回。
Very cool.
我像浮萍突丢了一块多刺眼的空白，不停地在懊悔，直到迷失自己。
Very, very interesting indeed. Okay. You know, I have to say, this is kind of my jam. I like this a lot for a couple reasons. When I was first like in my major, most metal of stages, I really liked long form music. In fact, it was always kind of that thing that like I felt like that if each song on an album wasn't like 7 minutes long, I felt like I was getting kind of cheated out of money. So this kind of was like exactly the kind of stuff that I like. But a couple things really quick. One thing I love personally is one thing that's really interesting from what I've seen, which isn't much, admittedly. I really think that it's cool that this whole song here really felt almost like a play. It felt a lot like I'm at a theater watching a musical. And I think that that's really cool. It's very theatrical. You get, obviously, between the 7 personalities, a lot of different sound. And he really takes full advantage of that. And I think that that's pretty telling. And you know, the interesting thing is, from what I've seen of him, which again isn't much, but I think one thing that I absolutely like is, even though everything is extremely structured and feels very traditional in that sense, he's still able to take very traditional constructs and make those feel unique. And to me, I think that's more impressive than what a lot of people do. Mainly because it's something to be able to, you know, it's kind of like ballroom. I'll do that because I've done ballroom. But it's very easy to make something look extremely like unique and original when you are doing freestyle. It's a lot harder to do that in, say, a waltz. But when you can do a waltz and make it feel fresh and make it feel like that this is something that you've never seen before, that is impressive, because at that point, it feels like everything's been done. And that's kind of what this feels like. It's like a very traditionally constructed song, but even with all the traditional constructs, it feels like I've never heard something like this before. And that is really, really cool. So let's talk about a couple things that I thought was really interesting. First and foremost, very atmospheric.
被解开，鲜血淋漓。若人能够篡改天生尘埃，在人命运。
It's so there's just a lot of feeling in that atmosphere too, though. It's tense. It's got a tinge of sadness. It's got this feeling of just being able to grow within all of that too. It's very cool. It's almost a flute-like quality.
惊天地，混沌初开，千轴黑白，在浩渺天地间梦生尘埃，兴起愤怒，欢乐，悲哀，更迭兴衰，是非成败，千万年轮回着浮生百态，永恒的，消逝的。
The other thing that I think is really cool is that the whole idea behind this is like the 7 personalities and whatever, and the depression and things like that. But I feel like one of the coolest things for me is that somehow this still feels very relatable. I feel like that this is, when I listen to this is the human condition. This is a struggle that we have all had to go through, whether, it was anger, whether it was depression, whether it was glee, joyfulness, whether it was, being let down, or that feeling of complete and utter emptiness and void of emotion. And it's really hard to capture that. And I think a lot of times, and I said this kind of last time, it's important for the lyrics to be able to do that. It's even cooler when the music goes along with that perfectly. And to me, I also really like to watch him perform, because this whole time he's held this really kind of cold face, right? Really unexpressive. And then it's almost like you can see what he's going through in his mind by what's going on stage, which obvious, right? But it's such a way that, to me, it feels like that this is a very intentional. The thing that I think is really cool about his music that I've heard thus far, which again is still not much, is he's very intentional, very meticulous. Everything has a perfect spot. It's like a puzzle being put together, and now you are seeing the full picture. And that's a really interesting way to do things, because a lot of people don't do this. A lot of people don't sit down and make music like this. This needs to be understood. This is not normal. It's good. It's just not normal. People don't make music so much like this anymore. People want that quick, instant dopamine rush that some music can get you. I'll be honest, I don't mind. Now, again, I'm not really one to, this is not slander or any sort of disrespect, but I think that's why a lot of times a group like Twice is so popular, because their stuff always is super catchy. It's very, it's very easy to listen to, and that's them. That's how they do their music. It's very catchy. It's easily digestible, and they have a good set of people inside of that group that can really handle that. This is almost the complete opposite. It's something that you kind of need a few listens to get everything. And, you kind of need to give yourself some time to kind of really let this sink in and feel the whole song, right? And yeah, he's also a very presentable and very likable person. Anyway, moving on. The other thing that I think is really cool, and I said this on the last video, one of my favorite things about what I have heard thus far is the way that he instills the emotion. He'll, like I said, the whole beginning of the song, he's been very stone-faced, very cold, very distant. But then he just is able to inject like a very well precise jab of just emotion right into a single spot, and it just gives a whole new meaning to the whole song, and it's so cool how they do that. You know, and interestingly enough, it's called the Seven Personalities, but in a sense, to me, this song felt a lot like the stages of grief, anger, sadness, and acceptance, and denial, and grief. The whole shebang, the whole collection of all those are really part of it all, and I think that that's really cool. And, you know, it's a very effective way of writing if you can write like this. And then, of course, we also got to go over the very metal part here. Kind of like an Iron Maiden-esque kind of vocal here. You know, and in a sense, this is kind of both the grief and agony part. And I really like how it feels. I think that that's honestly one of the most interesting pieces, is just how misunderstood music like metal and heavier things like this can be. It is so directly connected to this right here. Like, this is what I think. Whenever I'm listening to like anything super heavy and people are like, oh my goodness, it's, you know, it's this, it's violent, it's that, and it's like, it's more for the emotion. It's the outlet. It's the pure ability to just let loose. On a lot of times, let's be real, an emotion that does not get to be handled easily or very publicly or in a healthy manner. To be able to do something like this, I think, is incredible. So, to me, I think one of my favorite things about Hua, as of right now, is just the absolute ability to help understand, convey, and express the emotions, and doing it in a healthy, creative, unique, structured way. I think this is really cool. I'm really down for this. I like this a lot. Anyway, let me know what y'all think. We will discuss this down in the comments below. Thank you, and Vae Victis.